Welcome all of you to this another session of the Sustainable Future Food Series. We have had these sessions on various topics, variety of topics, but for these 2 weeks, last week and this week, we decided to focus on marketing. As Dhaval said, that sales and marketing is my core area of interest. And last week we discussed about the new age marketing, and the focus was more on, let's say, the primary marketing, while the customer is sitting at home or, you know, uh, watching television, listening to radio, reading a newspaper. So more the traditional, marketing tools. But as we all know that there is a very significant part that is played by the by the in-store marketing, and of course in-store marketing targets the customers while they're in a physical store or a brick and mortar business, and rather than marketing to customers to drive them into a business, in-store marketing focuses on engaging and converting customers once they have arrived. So in-store marketing allows brands to market to one of the most highly engaged prospects they will ever have. That's someone who is already in the store. It controls the customer experience, dictates how visitors engage with their surroundings, and eventually drives in-store customers to make purchases. My understanding is that research that was done some years ago established that over 70% of the purchase decisions are taken, in fact, in store. Somebody may come with a shopping list. They may have, whatever is the product written there, so and so cookie or so and so rice, but they will definitely get influenced by what they see in the store and the kind of, if I may call it, the marketing gimmicks that marketers may use in store. Now, 2 years ago, everything has changed. I mean, as we all know, not very many people are visiting the stores. I know that there are phases and there are countries, there are regions where people are less hesitant to go into stores, but I think by and large, large areas of the world, people have tried to stay away. And I thought it would be interesting to discuss what is the relevance of in-store marketing in these turbulent times. So, Dhaval and I, we sort of got together and decided that we must have a panel which would be able to discuss this subject. So I'm delighted that we have a very distinguished panel, very knowledgeable people. Let me start by introducing Elizabeth. Elizabeth Hemphill-Burns is an accomplished sales leader in CPG and has an established history of increasing revenue and year-on-year sales growth at retail. As a senior account manager at Kehe Distributors, Elizabeth leads an account team, oversees and manages DC transportation and store operations, manages the P&L alongside budget sales to ensure overall profitability and increases sales by developing creative promotional plans, managing profitable execution, and finding new business opportunities. Elizabeth is passionate about the natural products industry and committed to communicating the value of choosing natural, organic, and better for you foods on behalf of the environment, health, and achieving optimum wellness. Prior to joining Kehe, now I suppose this, anyway, you'll tell us more what this Kehe stands for, Elizabeth. So before that, Elizabeth was national and regional sales director for several nutritional product companies and held a record of generating new channels of business and increasing distribution in key accounts. Elizabeth, what does that stand for?
HIIT training. It's an intensive exercise format.
Okay. yoga, and so yoga, of course, all of us know, and hiking with her dog Eva in Pennsylvania on the weekends. We also have with us Joshua Lindell. Joshua is passionate about retail and guiding brands on their go-to-market strategies. Over the past 15 plus years, he has held various positions in sales and marketing roles. For the past 7 years at Bay Cities, he has supported brands in executing high visibility display and packaging programs in retailers like Walmart, Target, Costco, and Kroger, to name a few. His other passions include his wife and 2 kids, running, the outdoors, challenging himself, and trying new healthy foods. Jeff Clark, probably one of the most experienced on the panel today. In a sense, I see he's even more experienced than me. Jeff has played a variety of roles over 41 years in the grocery industry, from retail to broker to manufacturer to consultant, and that has given him a great understanding of all sides of this industry. Early in his career, he worked for Unilever Best Foods for 13 years. And our fourth panelist today is Sacti VELANE. Uh, he has been in the FMCG, consumer packaged goods, retail industry. He's been a veteran, more than 2 decades of versatile and path-breaking business development excellence across Asia, Middle East, North Africa, and Sub-Saharan Africa, including strategic advisory and investments management. Currently working as head of strategy and business development, spearheading the growth strategy for an Emirati-owned business group in food, nutrition, and retail verticals. Working with business owners adept in value creation, entailing strategy, formulation, and execution. Since 2011, Sacti has worked in roles as the head of profit centers for reputed family businesses from Switzerland, Germany, and India. His diverse experience brings forth a unique blend of proven strategic level inputs at the board level, meticulous business planning, and implementation of the agreed strategy through various departments by utilizing his 25 plus years of FMCG business development and past 10 plus years of general management experience across several business verticals, i.e., retail, food and beverages, branded consumer packaged goods, home and personal care products, perfumes, and agrochemicals. So I'm glad we have only 4 panelists on the group today. Otherwise, I would have spent the whole evening reading out introductions. Um, so, as I said, the topic for today talks about the relevance, or the relevance of in-store marketing in the turbulent times. The kind of things that we could think of doing prior to the pandemic, sampling the products, handing out flyers, focusing on in-store display, shelf talkers, whatever it is. Now, I know that some stores are probably still doing it, but there seems to be a major proliferation of at-home buying or e-commerce, and therefore, to that extent, the relevance of the brick and mortar stores and the marketing that we could do there seems to have gone down. Now, in a sense, this could also be looked at as a provocative question. Maybe some of you have a different point of view, and we shall start with the one lady on our panel. Elizabeth, what is your view? I mean, is in-store marketing still relevant? If so, to what extent? And what is it that is replacing it then?
So I love the title of this panel and this discussion. The use of the word turbulent is perfect and very apt. The entire marketing climate has changed. It's much more detailed at the store level. We're really trying to understand from the consumer standpoint how to trigger impulse purchases, and then how to encourage rebuys or loyalty for certain products. Most of the marketing, due to safety concerns about demos and safety protocols within stores these days, is really done in the form of dynamic merchandising. So we're talking about better shelf tags, some of which are digital, self-service displays with kiosks and video screens, and the utilization of clever POS materials in conjunction with impactful displays that encourage purchasing is one way that retailers are making stores and products, store experiences and products more relevant to the consumer. So lots at play here. And currently right now, what has seemed to emerge is the necessity to offer self-service displays that function on their own, whether it be a kiosk or a full-blown merchandising display with a video channel that allows the consumer to engage and learn about the product and the brand via education and sort of an interaction without there being a person involved. So marketing has really shifted, and it's fascinating to observe. It's not consistent across all channels at this moment, and we're seeing a lot of different strategies at play. But I think it's really moved towards a detailed approach. So what are we helping the consumer recognize, starting with the tag, and then as they move about the aisles with POS materials, merchandising, end caps, and then these self-service displays or kiosks, how are we really engaging them and encouraging both discovery and then further education?
Yeah, so there's a lot said about experiential marketing in the in the new age, and from what you are saying, that with a lot of self-service, and if I may add, also self-checkout, in order to eliminate human interaction or touch. How can one still give that experiential? I mean, what kind of experiential marketing is still possible, or sampling, or any of that activity that used to go on in stores or supermarkets? It's a challenge. Maybe I will, uh, just shift for a moment to Jeff. He's the most experienced of the team here. Jeff, what is your view?
Well, I'm not sure if I'm the most experienced. I might be the most elder of the panelists, which means I've
Yeah,
made a lot
your
of
beard suggests that you are the most experienced.
Thank you. It means I've made a lot of mistakes and learned from them during my career. As Elizabeth said, everything is at point of sale now. Everything, there's a lot of impulse. What everyone is showing these days is that millennials and Gen Z are not as brand loyal as boomers. Boomers and a lot of boomers, albeit said, some of them could never read, so they shop by image. And there's still some of that, but that's why you see the proliferation of private label brands, or like KE has two brands, Cadia and Made With. I actually have one of their contracts, but so you're seeing a lot of retailers, a lot of distributors coming up with their own premium brands instead of a generic brand or branded product as older generations knew. You're seeing a lot of geofencing and geotargeting, social media advertising, retailers offering social media advertising to manufacturers, which was not something that was done in the past. You're seeing demos done passively, no live sampling to say. And even at trade shows, you have to have like sealed cups, and some trade shows you actually have to put the name of your brand and all kinds of stuff on a little sealed ramekin, 3-ounce ramekin. So you're seeing a lot of changing. Manufacturers are trying their best to keep up with all the changes, but good old-fashioned reduced retails and impulse displays and floor shippers, those things still sell because they're impulse. And we all know in the industry that impulse will increase purchasing up to 80%. in a grocery store. That's why so many people want to be at that hyper lane or the self-service checkout, because those are high impulse areas. And one of the things that we have in the manufacturing industry is with floor displays. If you're on the floor, your competition's not.
Because people are going contactless, like you mentioned, where, you know, they're having more, you know, they're using voice search, you got these self-checkouts, but there's still touch points, right? There's still opportunities for branding and marketing. And I think that for brands that aren't pushing those things, that they're missing out on a big opportunity, because this, you know, hopefully this pandemic will, you know, get better. People will start going back to stores. It won't ever be the same, you know. Everyone's going to shop differently. You know, they may want home deliveries, but they may also need to get something last minute where that doesn't make sense. So they do run into a store real quick. So you want to make sure your brand has a presence, especially because there are a lot more brands in stores. They're trying to diversify what you see, but it is very hard to find new brands. So the only way to be found is to have in aisle, you know, signage or out of aisle displays and opportunities like that.
You know, I must tell you, sorry, Elizabeth, I'll just come back to you. I wanted to share with Joshua, he said last minute purchase. And, you know, my sister lives in New Jersey, USA, and I've been talking to her, and I tell her how easy it is to order at home here in India. You know, we have an app which is called Instamart, and I pick up whatever I need. I mean, I need a crate of eggs last minute, or a slab of butter, or whatever it is, and I order on Instamart, and it's here in 20 minutes. So, you know, that last minute, and you know, it's for as little as 100 rupees, which is what, about $1.25. That, you know, that kind of value also they will deliver to you at home. So somehow this e-commerce has caught on or scaled up in India a lot more perhaps than you are able to do in US. Not that we are a very small country, but at least in cities like Delhi, you know, these things are possible to reach pretty quickly. Yeah, Elizabeth, you were saying something?
Yeah, I just wanted to focus in on a word that Joshua used, touchless. I think that is at the center of the in-store marketing activities that have been the most successful. So we've suddenly tasked the customer with becoming highly visual and auditory. And if you are not developing marketing strategies to sort of interact with both of those formats, you're really going to lose a whole bunch of consumers. So we've seen in stores in several different formats, much more engagement along the lines, like we said before, of POS materials, careful marketing, content on tags, some of this interactive, better shelf digital tags, and kind of follow up at POS based off of the product knowledge that the consumer gets off of packaging. So I just wanted to emphasize that, because that's been a huge factor, right? You've lost the ability to sample, to touch, to taste. And so the marketing teams are tasked with creating that through visual and auditory formats.
So, you know, I can give another example that when people are not going in store and you are not able to sample and allow them to touch, feel, whatever, and I mean, of course, there also was the tasting sessions that used to happen in store. Today, again, talking of one of these e-commerce apps, what they do is, you know, if you're ordering, let's say, groceries worth 500 rupees, which is what, roughly $7.50, they will send along with that a free sample of a new product that has been launched. So you can actually get that sampling experience in home, in your comfort of your house, and that will help you to decide whether the next time you want to add that to your grocery list. So yeah, there has to be, of course, that dynamism. You know, when we talked about new age marketing, I said, you know, new age marketing is not something that is happening today in 2022. New age marketing will happen every year or every 5 years it will change, because you have to keep adapting and be flexible to the changing environment and changing circumstances and situations. Sacti, don't feel neglected. We are coming to you now, an altogether different environment from the three other panelists from North America. A smaller market, but one with very wealthy people. What's your experience on this? And of course, Dubai is fairly compact, and uh, almost every neighborhood has a nice store pretty close by. But at the same time, I'm sure that you also have in-home deliveries. So tell us about the circumstances there. Dubai has
But
not been hit too hard by the pandemic, has it?
touch wood, not until now. Touch wood. We had some scare during the Delta variant, but Omicron, like most of the population, is double vaccinated, including the booster. And fairly, there is a good control process of tourists coming in and, population traveling through Dubai in transit. Despite the expo happening and despite 20 plus million people transited through, fairly under control, I would say. Thank you for the opportunity to join in this distinguished panel. It is quite an insight to hear what's happening in the developed world. Just to also to give contextual, in the Middle East region where I'm based out from for the last 20 years, and handling the business in the Middle East African and South Asian market primarily. Even before the COVID, a lot of focus has shifted to shopper-oriented marketing, which means to say that a lot of leading food companies, including Nestle's kind, have gone and invested more focus on the shopper who comes into the store. So they already have established some touch points in this region in terms of dynamic displays, having some kind of conversation going with the consumers here or the shopper here. But COVID came in, and then as you know, that a lot of micro level engaging the consumer has happened with the established retail players here, including the majors of the Carrefours and the Lulus here. Apart from that, the hyper local delivery has become a kind of area to focus in terms of reaching out to the consumers. So given the restrictions that happened a couple of years back in terms of curfew during the certain period in time, so your laundry list has become something kind of a predictive thing of purchase. And this is where I think a lot of smart local stores have engaged with that hyper-local delivery. And then with necessary precautions, they continue to serve. And I can give some very good examples of companies like Kips and Zior, who were primarily a fruit and vegetables trading company. They completely pivoted their whole business model to a local delivery, and going into the omni-channel of delivering not only fruit and vegetables, but FMCG, food, non-food, everything under the sun. So in the last 2 years, there is a complete shift towards reaching out to the consumers or the shoppers here. And there are big trends, these mega trends. I understand a lot of these habits are going to stick for the future. Like my daughter, who is kind of, a 20-year-old, she is much more adept in going through the list through our touch points in terms of the phone. And she knows what to predict and what to stock in the fridge. Which for us, I mean, of my age, I'm more used to the going to the shop, getting the feel of touching the product, because we all consume the product first by looking at the product, feeling the packaging, reading something relevant there, and then making the purchase decision. While for the baby boomers like my daughter, she has all that kind of information available through various channels. So she can even have a 3D view of a product, And then she will come back and say that, Papa, I want to try this in our next, essay, So the whole mega trend of change has happened, and this is going to be sticky. This habit is going to be sticky, But nevertheless, I still feel that brick and mortar will continue to survive. Inshallah, we all hope to see the end of this COVID pandemic era. And that is one of the reasons the Amazons are going back and buying the brick and mortar stores to have that integrated experience. It can be a kind of a self-checkout stores, which is also happening across in this region. But still, I feel that a complete integrated experience in targeting the consumer is what's happening in this region.
Yeah. So you're right, Sacti. Certain things which have happened, some of the habit changes will continue. But I'm going to disappoint you by saying that it's not only the 20 plus, but even the 60 plus, at least here in Delhi, who have moved completely to in-house shopping. So my wife and I actually we have been doing a lot of wasteful spending by just filling with these apps and buying stuff which we may or may not need, because there's not much to spend on, because if you're not going out, you end up doing all these silly things. But the kind of experience that these apps give to you is also getting revolutionized, and I think we will end up continuing with e-commerce even when the malls open up and even when we can go to the stores. India, as you know, Sacti, but maybe the other panelists also know, also has a big uh, proportion of the mom and pop stores next door. And when he says that even pre-pandemic things were happening, actually here for years and years, people had these relationships with those next door mom and pop stores, and you could just call them up and say, please send me A, B, C, D for these 10 items, and the guy will deliver to you at home. So that was not an app-based thing, but the thing is that there you knew what you wanted, and you will say, this is what I want. Whereas what digital technology is doing is that you go and search for something, and then of course on all other media, the advertising will keep bombarding you and telling you that this is what you are looking for. Can we interest you in this, and so on and so forth. So uh, life is changing. What it's going to do in the next 5 years, I mean, it's anybody's guess. But in-store experience definitely is going to change uh, in the coming years. And I also agree. I mean, as I said, I was only being provocative when I said that it's going to become less consequential, but it's actually going to be there, and it'll become more interesting and more dynamic and more innovative in the way that you're going to capture the interest of the consumer once he walks in. So, as Jeff also confirmed, and I was also talking about right in the beginning, there is a very large percentage of the purchase decision that can get made in store itself. So yes, that would happen. Um, what other ways can one capture the mind and fancy of your consumer if he walks into the store? I mean, um, I think the days of the pandemic will subside as this year goes by, and therefore people will be going back to the store. What is it that they can do better now going forward? Let's take a quick round of the panel here. Elizabeth, you want to go first?
Yeah, so the focus needs to remain on product success, right? Helping the customer, encouraging discovery, and then also driving loyalty. I think those are the top three priorities. And the way you go about doing that, first and foremost, is understanding the customer that's shopping in these different stores, right? And then developing content that will resonate with them as they're moving about the aisles. Joshua mentioned QR codes. There are several techniques to kind of engage with the consumer via data perspective and see what is resonating and where there is traction, and what they're kind of looking for. But most importantly, as we've lost the ability to sample and demo and interact, it's getting back to the best practices of merchandising, promotional strategies, and little marketing programs that are in line with themes that the retailer is offering, merchandising, or anything that is going to draw attention to or focus the consumer on a specific category of products.
So given the increasing interest in ensuring health, hygiene, etc., and products that could help you give a boost to your immunity, would you say that there is a greater need to provide information about the product and the product benefits? I mean, it has always been there, but maybe it has become to that extent a lot more important to the customer today.
More so than ever. The marketers or retailers that are unlocking the opportunity for total wellness are the ones that are going to win. We have consumers looking to every area, whether it be supplements or food, to make themselves feel better, to achieve both optimum health, to better address preventative concerns across the board. And so in many ways, it's a very exciting time for both marketing and retailers to kind of band together and offer that future location or solution for the consumer with all of these different health concerns and the achieved outcome.
Exciting and challenging times.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Jeff. Word
Yeah.
from you.
Well,
I
just like,
noticed that your son has joined the call today.
oh, okay, good. He has a lot of that millennial insight, which helps me greatly.
But we will talk to him some other day. But today we want your experienced response to this.
So there's all kinds of platforms now, whether it be GoPuff, which is one here in the U.S., a lot like Instamart. You order it, it's here in 20 minutes. They're mostly in concentrated metro areas, but you have Amazon Go, you've got Orange Crate, Uber Eats, DoorDash. All of those platforms bring you groceries. Whole Foods, part of Amazon, you can order product, it gets delivered. So what we are finding, and a lot of the research is showing, is that center store is shrinking, and the periphery of the store is where all the business is. What that leads me to believe in the future is you're going to see that center store continue to shrink, and people will buy their staples online from the store before they get there. When they get to the store, they search fresh and impulse, and they pick up their staples that they pre-ordered, because everybody wants just in time. And so that's what we're starting to see more of. You see more fresh alternatives. You see vegetables already cut, ready to go into a recipe. You can buy containers of ingredients for a smoothie. All you got to do is drop it in your food processor or blender, whatever. So we're starting to see a lot more of that. Whereas we on the staple side of the industry are making more things functional. We're adding turmeric to things. We're adding ginger. We're doing all kinds of things to make them functional so that people look to us to say, oh, now I can drink this and get turmeric to help my joints, or I can drink this when it's got added ginger to help my digestion. It's all about Ayurveda because it does work. I learned that a long time ago.
I'm glad you mentioned Ayurveda. It's very interesting that things like turmeric and ginger, or the benefits of cinnamon, or whatever it is, which have been known to Ayurveda and known to Indian cooking for years, are now being discovered by the Western world. We put, as some of you who may have tasted Indian food, we put maybe 16 different spices in one dish, and they are not there just to make it hot. There's only chili powder, which is to make it hot. The rest of them are functional. They have a nutritional benefit, a health benefit.
Right. I'm very familiar with the thali. So,
all right.
Well, I spent time working for Tasty Bite.
I know that.
As well as Organic India. So, we were all about Ayurveda, and I learned how it can help your body. So you're starting to see more of these companies adding that to their options so that we can gain more customers.
So I'm not paid to promote the Sattviko brand, but as you can see, they call it Sattviko Food Yoga. Joshua, your take on what lies ahead?
I think that there's a lot of room for innovation and still room for opportunities. I mean, I'm going to bring up an example from the Amazon style store that's expected to open up here in Los Angeles later this year. They're taking a completely different approach to how shoppers engage at the store level, where they're really opening up the store. They're creating these more mannequin style, visuals for the apparel and what they may look. And then they have QR codes. So that is a touchless experience. And then it's in a technology-based experience, so that you're going to be able to go into the store, scan a QR code, look at different color options, look at different size options, click the one that you want. That can either get sent to the front desk to check out, or that can get sent to a fitting room, and you can keep shopping, and then it will let you know when your items are ready and you can go engage. So I think stores are going to start to adapt more to technology and making these experiences less touch-based, right? But also more experiential, so that they're getting a better experience. It's more customer focused, and they want the customer to actually maybe even talk about the experience that they had in the store. So I think that there's opportunities for that. I think that there's a lot of opportunities for collaboration as well. So I think brands need to plan for that, and maybe partnering with other brands that it makes sense, right? So that you can have a collaboration, because there's a lot of big companies out there that have a lot of products, but then there's a lot of smaller companies out there that are coming out there with healthy options and nutritious foods that people that are interested in. So maybe they don't have the funding to put into a full pallet display, but maybe if they get a group of people to do that, they can execute that way. So those are things that we're helping brands do in retail to kind of stand out, because maybe they can't do it on their own, but as a collaborative effort, they can reach more people.
Yeah, I think the experience that you have in store of, as you said, touch and feel, but there's also this relatively new gimmick that has started of also installing some jet spray that you get a little aroma of the product, which will also suddenly attract you to that product. I think that's something that certainly is missing online, because yet the aroma hasn't started coming through your laptop or your phone. But that's something that can be done, and that also attracts you to the product. So the opportunities, as you said, of innovative marketing in store are still immense and unending. Sacti?
I have a different take on this, as coming from my,
I like when somebody gives a different take. You can't all agree on one thing.
As we all lean in.
See, as we know that we have different lenses to see this, right? As individual human beings, and as you rightly said, Raj Kamalji, that in-store experiential is one of the key connect to the consumer. what we did when I was working with the Swiss brand is that we moved the whole experience out of the stores. Because store is one place where when consumer comes, he is always engaged with so many different things. So we want to stand out from this clutter. And what we did is that we had a kind of a 3 by 3 meter area rented just outside, say, for example, Carrefour in Mall of the Emirates in Dubai, a space which is probably 200 meters away from the actual hypermarket. And then we did a whole animation of bringing in a real cable car from Switzerland, putting the brand on it, sampling, because we had this potential traffic that goes into the store. We had this unique experience of, coming into this, let's say this, I will not call it a sampling area, I would call it an experiential area, having an undivided attention of our brand, and then we talk about, so on and so forth about the brand. As you might have probably noticed going to China, Rajkamalji, in the store, there will always be people who are hawking the product, they are shouting and stuff, right? So, when a shopper gets into a store, there is this automatic conditioning happens, like, something kind of a missionary. And then if you are not giving the right experience of the product, that really misses out, so for me, well, the in-store experiential connection is still going to happen. For me, I would just, if the brand has a capacity to invest, then it should be, in an undivided attention area, something closer to the stores and bringing in the message, So this has been very successful when I was handling this brand. And I'm happy to see that one of our partners who actually did this execution is also part of the
attendees.
Attendees were joined in here. So Mr. Sandeep can vouch for me here what we did together,
So I presume when you say you moved this experiential kiosk outside of the store, that it's not somewhere in the 45 degrees temperature. It's still within
the hypermarket itself.
Within the area of the hypermarket.
It's hypermarket itself. It's within the mall itself. Let's say within the mall itself, right?
That was only lighthearted. Don't worry.
So you brought up a really good point. I want to tack on to what you said, but you really talked about shopping. What most people think about is like a shop in a shop, right? Like where you can go into a store and maybe you find a display or an environment where it's unique, right? It's specialty. But what you're talking about is like pop-up shops. That they do that a lot here. A huge opportunity. I mean, you can even get collaborations with retailers. They'll allow you to do it out in the parking lot. That's something that, Walmarts do here very often. Even during the pandemic, they were still offering these touchless, seamless experiences outside of the store. And so I think you really touched on something that there is a lot of opportunities for these kind of pop-up shops where it may be near a store or, in a location that is more high visibility. Where people are going to maybe stop, and then you can create some content around that through omnichannel, where you're using it on TikTok and Facebook and Instagram and promoting those events, and you're getting people to show up. Like that's huge, and you can create some limited, availability for those types of events too, so that it's only going to be here for a short amount of time. So come in, learn about the brand, and it can be very experiential, and they can have tastings or things like that. So I love that you touched on that. That's a really good point.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I just want to chime in and expand on that too. So, I think there are 3 areas in marketing right now that we kind of need to focus on. It's that idea of extending the shelf, right? Increasing the PODs, whether it be externally with a pop-up shop or in the actual store with satellite displays. And how is marketing involved when doing that? Then we have the brands and the lifestyle solutions, yours being a perfect example, right? What are we doing to help the consumer with that total wellness solution after the purchase? What do we promise them? What are we suggesting? What are we encouraging alongside the product? And then the third being, how are we capturing the omni-store experience and making all of these interactions with the product seamless. So one of the advantages that e-com has today is they can capture the clicks and the consumer journey. And what's fun is when the retailers mine that data and make it seamless with the in-store experience. They have a lot of insight about what people are looking for based off of those clicks. So those three areas of marketing right now, the retailers that seem to be winning in the States are the ones that are really thinking about all of those areas. And at the end of the day, how the consumer is interacting with each touch point.
Let me add one thing to that. There are actually some manufacturers now that are offering rebates via Cash App or Venmo. When they do that, they capture all that person's data. So they'll be thumbing through social media. Hey, you buy this product, we'll send you $1. And so they gather all that person's information without spending a dime other than what they're going to send them through that Cash App or Venmo. So that's another really neat tool that a lot of the younger manufacturers have embraced, because, everybody has a Cash App just about, or Venmo or PayPal. So that's another avenue that they're using as well.
And then bombard them with digital advertising.
Yeah.
Once they've got all that information.
Yeah.
All right. I think it's been lovely talking to all of you. Unfortunately, there is a time limit. And I believe that there are some people, or at least there is one gentleman who wants to ask a question. Bogdan, is that you who wanted to ask a question?
Yes, that's me. But my question is, I have probably a zillion questions. Most of all, I plan to create my question to Jeff Clark. But now I meet five another nice people. But mostly I see you are Mr. Sharma from India and VELANE from United Arab Emirates, which is great. But I am from New York, and I am an inventor, manufacturer, importer, and distributor of supplements and health support stuff. And I really faced with sort of a gap. There is no distribution for such product anymore, because when we got connection to such big chains like Drug Emporium or Whole Food stores, they said, for instance, oh, we have Manuka honey, one brand. We don't need anymore. So my question was, how to enter these doors when the manager says, oh, we have similar product with another brand. And I'm talking about my brand, what to do. Another problem is American customers' mentality that prevents to sell this product as supplements. In United States, understanding honey is a sweetener. Honey could be added to pipe, honey could be mixed with coffee or tea. Honey never been considered as health supporting remedy, versus Eastern European descendants who were out of traditional medicine for centuries. That's why these people use natural stuff as a medicine. And this is completely new for US market. That's why it's a gap between cultures. And I want to try how to jump over this gap. You are from India, and I do completely understand what your company does. Great product. And I do understand about the reason why you hold this panel to sell this product in American market. At the same time, I got confused about how to do that. What's the mechanism for a new brand to enter retail market? How to enter retail store? How to enter UNFI? How you enter Kehe? regardless of the information they provide on their website, oh, you're free to go. Complete application, submit it, and silence. 3 months silence,
I think
1 year
Bogdan,
silence.
Bogdan, you're right that you have asked actually 1,000 questions, or at least the question which is so wide requires about 1,000 answers. You're
Absolutely.
really asking for a whole marketing book on how to launch a new product. But just for now, and to respect the panelists, I will request Jeff, because I think he originally wanted to ask that question to you. You are the one.
I can give you two very quick answers.
Yeah.
In the early 2000s was when I was selling Tasty Bite. The first accounts that I went to, they said, "Why do I need Indian food?" Or they'd say, "I have one. Why do I need another one?" Well, in the early 2000s, the Indian population in the US was at an inflection point, whereas you were starting to see Indian restaurants pop up everywhere, like Italian was 20 years prior. So now you see a proliferation of Indian brands on the shelf, Indian stores, Indian restaurants. Thai, same thing. You just have to keep plugging. Sooner or later, they will get it. There's a Nigerian man that I worked with. He had a honey water. And his whole story was, when he was growing up in Nigeria, his grandmother gave him honey mixed with water to help his stomach. So all of that is starting to come to the US. We're getting a lot more intelligent about Ayurveda, which does include honey, by the way. So I would say keep doing what you're doing and be persistent, and it'll happen.
Thank you.
Very, very well said, Jeff. And persistence is the key word for marketing. If there are no further questions, I would like to take this opportunity to thank all of you for what I consider a very, very informative, invigorating, and knowledge building session that we've had on this topic, which we thought was very relevant in the current times. And I look forward to interacting with all of you on a one-to-one or on another panel discussion in the near future. Thank you so much, and good night. Dhaval, is there anything you want to say, or?
No, I'm good. Thank you so much for, thank you so much everybody to join in, and really appreciate your time. Looking forward to more interactions. Thank you so much.
All right.
Equally.
Thank you all so much.
Pleasure. Thank you. Take care.
USA, have a nice day, and Sacti, good night to you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.